Flippy. There we go. Hey, Drew Wave, you're live on YouTube. So you guys that watch this later, we're not going to be seeing comments or talking to you. So if you throw something up, we'll check later, and that's just all you're going to get. All right, cool. Tell me when you're ready, bro. Wait a minute, Todd. I might not have. Sorry, bro. I got him right here, bro. Okay.
All right, Mickey, we are rolling.
Hey guys, we're going to do a quick video for you on zeroing the AR. We've done plenty before where we talk about the mechanics of shooting. So first and foremost, if you're going to zero a gun, you got to be as steady as can be, because you can't rely on what your data is telling you if you're unable to shoot a group. So you have to be able to shoot a group. We're going to be working off of my Zero, a very popular Zero, the 5200, not mine like I invented it, but the one that I have on my guns. The first question you got to ask yourself when you zero any gun, pistol, long gun, whatever it is what do you want that zero to do for you? And I think the misconception is that a zero is somehow changing something with the gun. All you're doing is working with the trajectory of the gun. So as a gun is tilted off of a horizontal axis, you're trying to figure out where that bullet's going to be, somewhere down that way. So we're on the 200-yard range at Aurora Sportsman's Club today, and I'm going to confirm my zeros at 10 yards. So why would I do that? Well, Frank Proctor kind of made this famous, and again, not taking anything away from Frank, nobody has any what's a good word I'm looking for? Has the market on math, right? Because that's what this is. So what Frank did was he looked at a ballistic calculator, which I printed a few out here for this zero. And what he was trying to figure out was at 50 yards and at 200 yards, where would that bullet be here at 10, so that you could kind of get that zero started and then confirm it out at 50 and 200. So we're going to do a couple things for you today. We're going to do this zero, which we'll make this available. This is a very simple zeroing target that we use in class. You've got 4 points. The black mark is point of aim. Red mark is point of impact. You got 4 of them. And then we've also got a couple of our logos on there, a little crosshair in the center that you can just use for other marksmanship tasks. This is on a 11 by 8.5 by 17 piece of paper.
Right, we have a letter size too.
Okay. And of course you can make this yourself. A couple factors that you have to know. You have to know height over bore. So this is only going to work if you have a standard AR optic, which is 2.6 inches over the bore. And what that's basically going to do is it's going to put your point of aim and point of impact about 1.9 inches apart at 10 yards. So this isn't something that you can just do at any distance. It's got to be 10 yards, not 10.5 yards, not 9.5 yards, 10 yards, if you're trying to use this math correctly. One thing I want to show you guys, and this is something that's important. So a moment ago, I said to you, all you're trying to do is figure out what you want to do with the gun. So for me, like my 10.5-inch Radian and my longer 16-incher, all I'm ever going to do with these guns is shoot out to a few hundred yards. Longer? Sure, if I know where the bullet's going to hit. But if you're going to have a gun like this, say for your cruiser, if you're a copper or a SWAT cop, as you're going about your duties collecting bad guys, or if you're going to use it in training, so if you're like a training junkie and you go to classes, find out what the class entails. If you're working 300 yards and in, you need a certain zero. If you want to take, say, the longer gun there and go shoot coyotes at 500 or 600 yards, not that that gun's built for that, but it would do it. You need to know where that bullet's going to be. So you may not want a 50-200 zero if you plan on most of your shots being 400, 500, 600 yards. That said, projectiles and velocities now come into play. So I don't want to go deep in the weeds on that, but you need certain data. And we did a couple videos a while back on this, which you can go back into the channel and check out. But what do you need to know? You need to know bullet type. You need to know bullet coefficient. Coefficient is the word describing the ability of that bullet to cut through the air. So think of like a shotgun slug, very bad bullet coefficient. Think of 223, like we're shooting today with a boat tail on it, a much better coefficient. That sucker can cut through the air a lot easier than a big fat like wad cutter or slug. So you need to know the bullet weight, bullet coefficient. You need to know the velocity. Oftentimes people say, well, I want to know the barrel length. The barrel length doesn't mean shit. You need to know what the actual velocity is. So normally when you look at a box, we've got a bunch of ammo on the ground, you'll see a bullet that was tested through a very long barrel because it's going to give the manufacturer a high degree of accuracy, and it's going to give the manufacturer a really high velocity rating, which looks cool for you when you put it in your cart off the shelf. But if you're shooting a little 10.5, or like Todd a moment ago said he's got a shorty, you're going to get a completely different set of numbers through a chronograph. Why is that important? Because a slower bullet is going to drop a lot faster out at 100, 200, 300, 400 yards. So this 50 to 200 zero, super simple. I'm going to show you with my gun what a good calculator will tell you. Now, a bullet calculator, a drop calculator, is only as good as the data you put into it, and it's also only as good as what the creator of the app or of the calculator, their ability to do good math. So if you round up too much, or you're not studious in the mathematics when you're creating one of these spreadsheets, that's really what they are, the shit doesn't work out there. So today we're confirming the math. The math is good. I've checked it across a few. Strelok is probably one of the best bullet drop calculators, pardon me, on the market, but there's others. Hornady has a really good one. And if you're a super sharp dude, you can do the math yourself. But check this out. So I'm gonna put the point of aim, so my dot or my crosshairs, on the black dot at 10 yards. Because we're 2.6 inches over bore, this round is still climbing at this point. It's climbing. So I'm gonna be 1.9 inches. That should be the difference, 1.9. But as we start going out, I've got a 50-yard target, a 100-yard target, a 150-yard target all the way out there, and then all the way back on the berm, we've got a 200-yard target. So according to the math, at 50, which is out over here, we'll need to move one of these targets for me to shoot past it. We should be on the money. At 100, I should be about 1 1/3 inches high, okay? 1 1/3 inches high. All the way out at 150, I should be about 1 1/4 inches high. You guys, what you got to think about here is most guys can't shoot within an inch or an inch and a quarter at 150 yards. So you're starting to deal with shit that the average marksman and their gun and their ammo is not even capable of. And then out to 200, I should be back on the money. So what we're going to do is we're going to validate that. We're going to validate it on actual targets, not assuming that this zero works. And then I brought out my 55 grain Super Vel ammo full metal jacket that we use. I brought out the 62 grain solid copper from Super Vel. I've got some Hornady tap, and I've got some Hornady, which one did I bring out? I think the VMAX. This is a great varmint round. That should do well. I've got some low-end reloads from a company that's now defunct. You can see the box there. These are a soft lead bullet. And then I've also got another full metal jacket from Fiocchi, just so we can compare it. And why this is important is a lot of guys, man, they go print this shit off, they shoot it at 10 yards, and then they never validate it. So we're going to try it. And then also at 200, we've got a piece of steel out there with a 6-inch plate. So I'm going to bet that without changing anything on these guns, I can hit that 200 plate reliably with all this different ammo. And if we can't, we'll check it out on the bigger plate and see where we're dropping. And we'll just see how it works. So I'm going to prone out here. I've got a couple of my bean bags to get behind the gun good. I'll throw my ears on. And I'm just going to call out to you what we're doing, and we'll talk through it. Sound good? Okay. How was that, Drew?
That was long.
It was. But it needed to be.
Okay.
It needed to be. I mean, we got to talk about what we're doing, man. So how are you guys? How are you guys? We got Todd chamber flag and guns, safety first.
Somebody's gonna bitch about that if I see it.
And we do have this, for those of you watching, we've got this bay closed off, and we are at Aurora Sportsman's Club today, which is fun. Just, I got out here today to film this, and Todd, you're on the board here, aren't you?
Yep.
Todd's on the board, he's helping us. By the way, Todd, if you look him up, Mr. Vandermeide, a pillar of the community of Second Amendment advocates for years, worked very hard to change laws here in Illinois. But it's a great club. So if you're in the Chicago area, we do classes here. We've got a class coming up here in April. A lot of my buddies do. But we just ran into a student of ours that just joined this club. So you can drive out here. We'll show you some shots maybe before we leave. We're out in the country, and it's a great spot. How many bays you got here? Like dozens and dozens.
There's 13 on the front side right now,
13.
and then we've got 9 on the back side.
9 on the back. You got sporting clays.
Sporting clays.
You got trap.
We got 5 stand, 2 skeet fields, 3 trap fields, a wobble stand, springing teal, and we're in the process of putting in 4 more trap fields. We're gonna add 15 ranges.
Oh, wow.
On the back side.
And you've got, this place is super clean. I'll share some of it with you before we come out. I'm gonna prone out here, and we're gonna get some work done. Drew, do you plan on hanging out there?
Yes.
You probably are not gonna like it. The muzzle blast coming off of that one gun is nauseating.
Awesome. Well, I may frame it and then wander
Yeah,
away.
you're not gonna want to be anywhere near the front end of that gun when it goes off.
Okay.
Yeah. This one's not as bad, but yeah, you want to be at least behind 90. So you want to be back like
I want to be right on top of you.
but you don't want to be anywhere within 90 degrees of the muzzle.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of setting up the camera and then wandering away then.
Or just putting your body back up a bit. Yeah. Okay.
So is this good enough?
So I'm going to confirm my zero here with both of these on these targets. Okay? Tracking? Tell me when you're ready.
All right, I started rolling.
So I'm going to load up and confirm my zero with both of these guns. The Super Bell will go first. I'll just shoot at this one real quick, and then we're just going to run through both of them at these various targets. Yeah, I can get to that other one. Cool. Eyes and ears, everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
Dot action.
Okay.
Confirming that I'm not in any way going to shoot over the berm, and I'm nowhere near it. First, and as always, take your dot. When trying to work a zero like this, you want to see a real defined aiming point. So, come to a good natural shooting position, and I feel good. My hips got my dot squared up nice. Safety's off. Range is hot. So when I get a good sight picture, I'm going to press a couple shots. I'm going to call that one and done. That went right through the red dot, so no sense in wasting ammo on that. That was good. We'll have chamber on this gun, and we'll confirm the other one. Now this one, I was zeroing a few weeks ago at the indoor range, and lighting sucked in there, and I had a real hard time seeing what I was doing. So I might need to make an adjustment or two to this gun. And if needed, then we'll just adjust as necessary. Everybody should have their eyes and ears on. Bags here. good. No sense in wasting ammo. So, now what we'll do, let's go and clear it out real quick. I am going to drop that 10-yard target because it's holding me. So I'm just going to walk out real quick. Move this away, and I'm going to step out and drop that target. Downrange. Is that how that works here? What you're doing, just so I know?
Yeah.
Okay.
When the range is closed, we pull the cones out so everybody knows it's
Got it. Tell me when you're ready, Drew.
Yeah, so you're on to the next one?
What I'm gonna do, Drew, is we're gonna, yeah, I suppose we can do that. What makes good sense to me, I guess I might as well show you guys too. So there were my 2 hits. I'm not gonna funk around with that one there being on the top of the red because I did spend enough time zeroing with these the other day, so I don't need to work through 3 or 4 shots. I'm touching red. I've been running up and down the range. I'm in the mud. It's windy. That tells me I'm where I need to be because I did do the work on the indoor range.
Hey, Mickey,
Yes, sir.
can we slide you over just a little bit so
Yeah.
we don't have any?
Uh-huh.
That sideburn is designed for that.
I see it. Yep. We can move over by that barrel or by that.
Yeah.
Yep. Easy. That was what I was looking at when I got on the ground there a minute ago. Yep, that'll work perfect right here.
Cool. I'm not worried about you and your capabilities.
I understand.
It's
Yeah.
all the fucking guys
I understand.
front that are gonna watch this and are gonna bitch at the club. Oh, you're right.
Remember, you are being recorded by the phone line.
Sorry. You can edit that one out.
Huh?
You can edit that one out.
We're good. I'm gonna move this mat down, Drew, just so that
Okay.
we've got plenty
Lined
of
up. Okay.
space with the berm there. And anything that you need to do to say, hey, this is how we do stuff, just okay. I'm saying just say like, hey, this or that.
I'm just watching for that goose. Wait till he comes back.
Yeah. So Drew's getting some camera done. Todd's keeping us safe here. So that's the thing about a range, guys. There is a lot of freaking places you don't want to be shooting guns. And, I don't know how many times I hear folks tell me, oh, that range outside of town or over here, over there, they won't go there. And if you don't have rules, man, when you're dealing with guns, cars, rockets, drugs, anything, it is bad news. So a place like this, why you'd want to be a member here is, one, you can come here and actually train how you want to, but inside the parameters of safety. They've got a really good medical action plan. Got these high berms. That berm out there is freaking taller than a house. That's fantastic. And like anything, talking about liberty and freedom, liberty's only as good as people can handle. When we start doing stupid shit and we can't meter ourselves, that's when you have problems. Guys get excited, they want to play with guns, they want to have fun, and then what happens is they don't have a plan on how to keep things safe. All right, so Drew's got a couple cameras out there at the 50. I'm going to drop back down. We're going to shoot 50. With all of this ammo, we'll clear out, and then we're going to switch over to a hundo, then 150, then 2, and then we'll work some on that steel. We're just confirming numbers. And Drew's working his butt off. Let's get to it, because we got stuff to do. You want to move this, Drew?
Oh, good idea. Let's keep it centered over here.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll run through the shorty first, and then we'll go to the longer. Flag out. So first one up is just the. Oh, first one up is the 55 grain full metal jacket from Super. So out here we've got a blue post-it note. That'll be a good enough target zone for me at posties about 3 inches. So again, because we're really working on accuracy, get your natural point of aim, move your hips around till you feel good, start slowing your breath. If you can't do it here, you're not going to do it under duress, right? So right now as I'm looking through the optics, I move my hips a little bit. Oh, nice. That pushes right on. Eyes and ears, guys.
Good.
One and done. I'm going to drop that. Just switch right over. So now I've got the Hornady, what do they call it? This is the VMAX, 55 grain VMAX. Same thing. Load it up. Got the camera on the targets down there. Shake it off. Fish that out. Sounds like a big mess here. Now we've got the solid copper from Supervel. This is not meant to be a long range round. A couple hundred yards and in should do just fine. This is meant to be a barrier blind round for shooting through things like windshields, car doors, interior doors, and having massive expansion with this monolithic copper. Very nice ammunition. Done. Now we've got the cheap reloads from the company that's now defunct, and these are soft point, 55 grain. Now, if we were trying to get super scientific, we could get rest out here and go to town. Hornady Tap, this has been around for a long time. A lot of coppers carry this stuff. It is a precursor to what this Supervel does now. That felt hot compared to this other ammo. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the other rifle. Flag this gun. This guy. This place is so good, they got their own chamber flags. 55 grain Supervel. Because I got it, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Why not? Let's take a look at that. Uh-oh. One of them is about an inch low. We'll have to see when you're editing which one it was. I felt good on all of them. The rest of them are all in the paper. So let's hit this. Good. Dump that. Was the next one I shot was the VMAX, right? Do them in the same order. Because we're not supposed to swear on YouTube, I will tell you that people call a break like this. This is Radian's gun, and this thing shoots soft as can be. They call that a buddy fucker. So Drew will have to beep out fucker, buddy fucker, because it's super annoying when you're next to somebody. This is a Super Bell solid copper. Easy. As we're going through this, I'm thinking for the viewer, it's going to be really boring to watch us shoot through each of these at all of these distances. So I think we'll throw a couple at a hundo, we'll throw a couple at 150, and then we're going to stretch it out. I don't know if I'm thinking, and tell me if you agree, Drew, I don't think it's going to make for good video just to watch me sit and shoot. What is important, though, what I want you to see is where they are impacting on the target at these distances. So now we're to that cheap shit. All in the postie. And I'm not being super careful to be in the middle of the postie. I'm just putting the dot for the crosshairs onto the blue. If I see blue behind it, I'm pressing. Good. Okay, so you're gonna need to move cameras, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna flag this gun. I'm gonna get these muzzles in a safe direction, and we're going to move to a hundo. That is surrounded by a mud puddle about 25 feet out. So that is as close. Your cameras are okay where they're at. Do you need help?
No.
Okay.
I'll move them closer though.
So before you step out, let me flag this chamber and move the muzzles so that we're not pointing them at ourselves. And I will help you. Is that all good, Todd?
You're all good.
All right, range is cold for a minute.
We're all good.
So for you guys, I don't know if this is exciting or not, but because you just watched me do that while we go down for these targets, or to grab the stuff rather, I'll just show you what that looked like at 50. And I can't tell you how many classes we do where people show up and they haven't confirmed zero. It does not make any sense to me. You know, the whole point of any gun is to hit targets. So you saw how fast I was shooting. I wasn't taking a lot of time. Here's that one I told you about that I shot low on right there. The rest of them are all, this is not some crazy group. I'm on the ground. I'm not using a bipod. I only use the bag for a minute. But what I'm trying to do is confirm for what we're doing, finding out if we have efficacy for hunting and for the application of protecting ourselves. As we get out farther to that 150, I'm going to have a hard time with my red dot on that target. And of course at 2 hundo, I'm going to be able to see the cardboard, but I don't know about seeing the post-it. But again, I put the post-its in the same spot, so I know where to hold on the target. It's just a matter of me doing my job behind the gun, and then of course our zeros. And so that's what the effort is here. Drew's kicking ass behind the cameras, and we'll get this done. Isn't this cool? So I was talking to you a little bit about Aurora Sportsman's Club. Got the Carry Trainer travel trailer back there, which is full of all of our TA targets. Little plug. But we're out in beautiful farmland here. Sorry for the panning camera. Drew and I needed to come out here to do this. We've got the Dudes Weekend coming up in Kentucky in a couple weeks, and we're going to do a lot of rifle shooting. And you know what? I see guys show up that do instruction, and talk to you as we walk. They haven't confirmed zeros on their gun. Maybe they haven't shot in a while. I don't want to show up and not know what I'm doing. I don't want to show up to train and have people having paid and not have done this. One, because I'm teaching how to do this, so I better be able to display it. But two, time is of the essence, man. When you go out and train, if everybody has to zero like this, so pro tip, if you're going to go train, zero your gun before the training starts. Yeah, do it on your own time. By the way, these hat point targets are one of my favorite. Very, very light. You saw how I was able to pull the sticks right out of there. I've posted about these before. They're a sponsor of the SLB event. You can go to hatpointtargets.com. Polymer, if you shoot them, they don't shatter. The bullets just punch a clean hole. Don't shoot your target bases. And we have a discount code for them. Fantastic product. Come on, Drew, let's go. So Todd, in his past life, was an operator. So he comes out here and volunteers as a board member to build berms and grade and keep the place looking good. And he was kind enough to come out today and help us out as we're doing this. Yes. Actually, maybe we'll give you a different view this time. Should I check on a couple of comments for a minute? Maybe we'll give you this view. So 50-yard zero, you know, you guys got to remember that a 50-yard zero, you could have a zero that was 39.7240. That could be your zero. All you're doing is picking a point along a trajectory that is a known distance so that you know where the round will hit. Then, in order for your gun to hit that mark from the point that you're shooting at, so for us, point I'm shooting at, 50 yards. So if that's your zero from here to there, I know that my bullet and my point of aim coincide, right? No holdover. So all I know now is that I've got that point. So if you know those two, if that's your zero, you extrapolate your trajectory out to the point that your bullet will hit the dirt. In this case, if you want to run these numbers farther, let's see. I think I only printed this data to 500. So at 500, smarty farties, do you know how far you will be have to hold over? You would have to hold over 5 feet 4 inches. Check that out. At 500 yards with a 50-yard zero and 55 grain ammo going about 3,200 feet per second, which it is not out of that short dick gun, you would have to hold over 64.4 inches. So that's 5 foot 4 and 3/8 or so. That's the height of a man. So, you know, if you had a way to range find and you knew somebody was 500 yards out, man, you just hold a whole man over the top of them, right? And you hit him in the head. That's gross, but that's the facts. That's the point of knowing your zero. They taught you that in the Army, I'm sure. You guys knew how to do that. Dude, my brother, who was an infantryman, 500 yards can, with irons, do headshots all day long. Good old-fashioned marksmanship. You ready, Drew?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we'll throw this here now. You guys can watch from this angle, and we'll run back through it. Hold the cone. I'll grab the other one, Todd. So now we'll go to 100. And I'm thinking, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'll pick 55 grain full metal jacket. We'll do the Super Vel, and we'll do the cheap ammo. Okay. We'll do that, and we'll run these other ones just because it's going to take too long to sit here and do these. And it's not going to tell us anything that I don't already know. If somebody watches and you're like, hey, I wanted to see them all, start paying me by the hour. I charge a lot. Okay. Move this guy out. So we'll do this, and this. So we'll start with the 55 grain. Side note, screwing around with all this ammunition is something that somebody could get hurt very easily. I know all the shit that's here is 223. So make sure, you gotta remember which camera we're talking to here. I had a guy call me the other day. He was mad at one of the guys on the range because somebody threw a handful of 9 into a bucket of 40 at a police training event. And he fed 9 into his 40 mag and didn't get hurt, but what happens is that case blows up and it caused him a little bit of a fright, and he was like, that idiot. And I said, you put the ammo into the mag, you put the mag into the gun. So you guys got to pay attention to what you're doing. So very easy when you've got a bunch of stuff out like this to make mistakes. Don't make mistakes with guns. Good?
Good.
All right, I'm going to get a little more steady now because a hundo's no joke on a 3-inch target with a red dot. And according to our data, we should be about, what did I say, 1.4 high. So if I was to be perfect and I held in the middle of that 3-inch post-it note, if I'm able to do my job, the round should hit right on the top edge of the post-it note if I hold dead center. That's what I'm going to try to do. I don't have the greatest vision, but that's what we're out here working on. Bring the dot right down a little bit too. Ooh, that's nice. Tell you what, people like low dollar dots, and I have some. There is nothing like a good aim point for the clarity of the dot. All right, here we go. All right, that's one. That's a 55 grainer. 55 grain full metal jacket Super Vel. Here's the cheap, actually, here's the cheap stuff. That's the tap. I could tell just by looking at the quality of the brass. Oop, didn't see it. There we go. Get back underneath it here. You may ask, why don't you have a tripod or a bipod or more bags? Because the premise here is, what can you do with the shit that you carry in the condition that you carry it? If you're not walking around with a 10-inch pistol AR with a tripod on it, I don't really give a shit. And I think that's a big fallacy in the modern world. All the stuff that we have, run what you brung. Here's the solid copper. This is so the dudes weekend we got coming up. Shut my mouth and shoot this. Dudes weekend that we got coming up, we shoot out to 600 yards with whatever your gun is. And guys will show up with 24-inch rifles, and it's like, there ain't no way that that's the gun you keep in your truck or you've got in the back of your cruiser. You know, they've got something like this. And that's the whole premise, is what can you actually do with the gun that you carry or that you have in your possession or that you would find in your possession if you had problems, you know? All right, we'll run this one.
The man says you're supposed to be 1.3 low or high, right?
High.
So on the second gun, why don't you aim at the bottom of the post-it note if you're holding?
I'm just holding the same spot on all of them because I know then I don't have to adjust my point of aim, so it's easier for me to read the target and just holding the same spot on all of them. You know what I'm saying?
I just figured to show you which gun you're shooting where.
Right, right. Well, we got it on film.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The beauty of cameras rolling. I'm gonna zoom in and check my work. I think those are all hits. I think. You know, these low power variable optics are awesome until you get out to 100 yards. Then all of a sudden you can't see bullet holes. All right, so I've got the 55 grain. So Todd's point, guys, is why don't I hold at the bottom to hit the center, which from a marksmanship standpoint would make sense. If my goal was to hit the blue, what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to hold the same on all these targets, and we can watch as the bullets walk around, if they do. All right, that felt good. Cheapo ammo. one complaint people have with this Night Force for what it costs more than my first car. The glass is so clear, but because for what it was built for, the center dot really takes up a lot of real estate on the target as you start zooming in. But this is not built to be a precision rifle optic. It's built for what I'm doing, a couple hundred yards and in. This is the 55 grain solid copper hollow point from Superville. Felt like I was high, and I think it was. All right, so we'll clear these out, chamber flag them, control the muzzles, put the cones out on the range, and we'll go move cameras and get set up at 150. Drew?
Good.
All right, range is cold.
No, my point, Mickey, was that
Oh, I'm tracking.
if you aimed at the bottom, then you can see the
Yeah.
variation between the two rifles.
Well, we will, because the holes are still gonna. I'm holding the same spot every one, and what I don't. There's nothing wrong with that. That would be a fun way if my goal was to hit them all. We're gonna see them walking up and down in the cardboard on film. So as I'm talking and he syncs my voice to those bullets, we'll see where they appear. And unfortunately for you guys, I'm not that good a shooter, so we'll see where these went. That one felt high, the last one. How you doing, Drewnis?
Doing good.
Drew's thinking, man, Mick said this was going to be like a 10-minute video. Every time I say it's going to be 10 minutes, it's more like 2 hours, isn't it, Drew?
1 hour. 1 hour.
All right. I hope that this is fun for you guys. At the last minute, I just thought, oh, I'm going to turn my camera on and see what we're getting here. Okay. So here's the fun thing. Yeah, I've got a few that are spread. Whoa! Whoa, man, one of those is like 6 inches high. Those had to be the freaking red dot shots. That's fun though. We'll
find out in the footage.
Yep, we sure will. Not impressive at all. I can't walk through this slop. I don't want to walk through that slop at all. So now we're going to go to 150, and then we'll go all the way out to 2. And what this is telling us, as we know, so I've got almost all of them are in the A zone, and then there's one that's all the way up into the head box. I really felt steady on most of those. The lack of good visual acuity is not helping. So what do you got? One of those wide angle, Drew, and one of them more zoomed in?
It's more like a tight and tighter.
Tight and tighter? I mean, how tight is tight? Like, if you're only on the blue, you wouldn't have seen some of those.
It's not quite that tight, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like one wide, one tighter.
Got it. So we've got a plethora of cameras that we play with and use. Let me see we're at 150 here. You see Todd in the truck back there. So I'm gonna start making my way back to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I'm done counting. So anyway, I don't want to make this too boring, because you guys watching, you might be bored already. Is like, all he's doing is walking back and forth and shooting. Yeah, but what I'm trying to do is confirm the zero of where these rounds are going. You dig? I'm trying to confirm where they're going. And what's interesting is we're getting wild different results with all these rounds, because they all go different velocities. The 62 grain is way slower than the 55 grainer, because it wasn't built to go super fast. The data that we punched into the load calculator was for one load at one speed. So you put those through different guns, and that's why we're seeing all of these hitting at different elevations, which is cool. That's the point of doing the data gathering. Yeah, they're all over. Come on, Drew, let's go. What's your favorite thing about this range, Todd?
The people, the friends I've made out of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
I've developed some lifelong friends from here, as close as any of my brothers in the military, and
That's cool.
there's just a bunch of good kids around here, and they want to see, like my buddy Eric, who's now the president. His kids started coming out when he was probably 10 or 12. My son started coming out when he was 13, and we break him in on 22s, and then we teach him how to use an AR, and then we've got them running and gunning doing our PR shoots.
That's cool.
And I don't know any other club that runs practical rifle.
Yeah, you guys have a huge your zombie shoot coming up.
Yeah, it's September. Yep. This will be my 5th year running. It's my last year.
Hey, Vic, could you fish out a spare G85 battery?
You got it, bro.
But no, it's that. It's everything this place has.
I'll take it with me next time I go out there.
Here's a couple.
Cool. Just need one.
Yeah, because I haven't seen PR offered anywhere else.
Why do you think that is?
I don't think anybody thought about it. I mean, we took what was essentially IDPA and turned it into a rifle event.
So when he says PR, he's talking practical, not precision. Moving, shooting, making the gun do what it was meant for.
So it's running and gunning with an AR, and maybe other ranges just aren't set up to handle it. I don't know, but if you want to talk about just getting guys into, it's not as gamerish as 3-gun is, and it's more about ringing out your gear.
I dig it. Which right now we're ringing ours out purely from a standpoint of zeros. So I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can do an ugly zoom on this. Oh yeah, I can. It's ugly, but there by the cameras out there, you see how grainy it is. So we'll bring it back in. And I'm ready when you are, Drew. I'm going to throw my things on. Coons coming in.
Yep.
By the way, I gotta say I love this Victos jacket. This thing is like, it makes me feel like a Marvel superhero. Alright, so we'll go back to it. We've got 5 minutes, a few more of these 62 grain solid coppers into the bag. You want to be careful with these projectiles. So some of you guys watching this are like super long range guys and you're getting poo-pooey at some of the practices we're using. Shut up. The point is not, I could go get my bolt gun and sit down and go through that process. That's not what we're doing. That's not at all what we're doing. It's the guns that you have, like Todd was just saying, shaking the gear out. Everybody got eyes and ears? 55 grain, we're at 150 yards now. Man, it's hard for me to, I don't got a lot that I can go off of. So what I'm trying to do on these IPSC targets, I put the blue posties at the top of the A zone, which is just below shoulder height. So I'm kind of splitting the difference. Some people with super eyesight might have a better time. That was the 55 grain full metal jacket. Here's the soft point, not fancy Reman ammo. chose these couple of rounds. Doesn't matter. Well, the Super Vel I chose because it's what I shoot. But I wanted you just to see the disparity of accuracy and of how this ammo works at various zeros. You've got to know what your ammo does. Don't just trust what somebody on the web tells you. There's the 50 or 62 grain solid copper now. Ooh. No primer strike. Must have not chambered that all the way. Felt like it was chambered. Weird. Malfunction. Flag this guy. Switch it up. All right. That was the 55 grain Super Vel full metal jacket. Got the low cost soft ammo, soft point lead. And the 55 grain, 62 grain rather, solid copper. Go. Clear it out, run down, move the cameras. I don't understand why this keeps not wanting to. What that's doing. That nickel coating on there, it doesn't like it.
Tight chamber.
Yeah.
You're on a 5.56 or a 2.23 chamber,
223 wild.
so it should eat all of it.
It should, yeah. I've not had that problem before. You guys see me fighting with that one round in that chamber. Well, let's sprint down there, Drew. I'll save that. I don't know if the way it was coming out of that mag. I might need to check that mag. It might have fed it in there a little screwy. And hey, we can't. Oh, your cameras are down there. Range cold. Drew, I'm thinking on this one, let's not even go to the cardboard that I put up. We'll just go right to the steel. I can't see that cardboard at 2 hundo with the red dot to have any real value for what we're doing. So I'll just shoot at the steel so we can see the bullet strikes.
Okay. You want to put the cardboard in front of the steel?
No, I want to let's leave that cardboard that's down there, but we'll shoot at the steel. And if you're at least 10 yards off with those cameras, you shouldn't have any issue.
Yeah, we'll see it real good with the camera.
What I'm concerned with is the lenses, is what I'm saying. You tracking?
Yeah.
So part of the problem with what we're doing here from a strict science standpoint is, you know, I'm not really giving myself the best opportunity to be super accurate, but this is what we're looking for. So check this out. Check this out. So can you tell which one of these you think was my zero? This one? So that all of those guns are zeroed with just one ammo. Just one. I'm guessing, and the tail will tell, but you know, these rounds are running completely different velocities. Pretty interesting, isn't it? You might not think it's that big of a deal at 150 yards. That is quite a deal. Quite a deal. You're talking about inches and inches. Inches and inches. Now, if we were really trying to get super sciencey and wanted to make this thing a full day affair, I'd fire 3 or 4 or 5 rounds with each. I don't have the time to do it, and I don't really have the inclination to do it. It's not fun. I've done it before, and I know where my gun's zeroed, but I want you to see, you know, this last 2 hundo, because if I do my job, we should come back to where we want to be. So check it out. All the way back by the trucks, 0, right? Here, 200. So if you've got a 50, 200, 0, which again, don't get hung up on any zero. The zero's just got to work for you. Point of aim, point of impact. So from here on out, the bullet's dropping to the earth. It's already reached its apex at this point. It's not going any farther up. You see the high point between a hundo and 2 hundo. The bullets were climbing. And we see that, and now we should be back down. So Drew's setting the cameras up. We'll plink at steel. I'll shoot a few more out of these. I might have to get hits, and we'll see how that goes. I need to get some new batteries for that one. I hope this is helpful for you guys. It's fun, at least. Yeah, dude, there's so many zeros. Why? Not sure. Why are you watching this? Why are you watching this? I mean, you guys could go back to work. Just because some dork strap puts his phone on live on the range doesn't mean you need to be watching. That's a good point. Why are you watching? I don't know. So we've got some awesome classes coming up. I can talk about that as we walk 200 yards back down the range. And I'm excited about them. I'm hoping that this scare going on across the country with old COVID isn't going to be problematic for the class schedule this year. So far, so good. You like it, Drew?
This isn't in your line of sight at all, is it?
Shouldn't be. No, you're plenty.
Good. That's what we want.
Okay. Skaboosh. Skaboosh. I'm gonna look at your comments as I'm walking back. Quality's good on this live, huh? Good. So what we'll do next, I'm gonna run some rounds now onto the steel at 2. I changed my mind on shooting cardboard, made a decision on the fly here. I can't see well enough at 2 hundo with a red dot to have any, I could shoot and hit the cardboard, but I can't really see if what I'm aiming at I'm gonna hit. By that I mean the postie is just too far away for me to see with my eyes. So we'll shoot at that steel. It's very easy for me to differentiate the steel from the white backer. Todd did me a favor and painted it red, which is going to make it hard with my red dot, but whatever. And we're looking to see if we can actually get effective hits. You know, everybody in the chat rooms, all the fucking hard asses that shoot guns, talk about, my gun's good out to 400 yards. It's only as good as your ability to know your dope and get the hits. And marksmanship is just as big as the equation as the quality of the gun. There are a lot of dead people in the world from American sporting arms that were not some super hyper accurate build because some farm kid knew how to align irons and put them on a bad guy's face or chest. Not trying to sound morbid or creepy, but that's just the fact of the matter. So, you know, having good gear is nice, but good gear doesn't mean shit if you can't align the sights or the dot or the crosshairs and keep the gun still while you press the trigger. So let's ring this steel and then shut this bitch down because Todd's got a 0 rifle too.
Oh, we're just going to confirm what you're teaching.
That's pretty interesting out there, man. Those like walk straight up. Yes. Now. Cool, Drew?
Yep.
All right. Range is coming back online here, guys. I'm going to move you right here so you can see over my... we'll go this way. How about that? See if you can hear the steel back here, too. That'll be fun. Do you like that view over this view? Which view do you guys want? That one might be good. That one might be good. How about I drop you down, let you look right at my taint, you sick bastards. You guys want to look up my taint while I'm shooting? Let's go deeper and lower. Deeper and lower. People are gonna watch this video later and get nauseous. How about that? I like that. You like that, Drew?
Sure.
Okay. So, for you guys that we're actually making this video for, you guys just kind of like glommed on. We've got that piece of TA Target steel out the 2 Hondo, and we've got a 6-inch head swing. Pretty reliably can get that at a hundo with my aim point. I can't say the last time I tried it too. It's been a while. So we'll try that some. I'm actually really quick gonna run and grab a fresh mag too out of the truck. Some more of the 55 grain stuff. All right, flag coming out, and we've got the 55 grain full metal jacket super belt. And listen for the ring a ding. I'm just going to aim for the silhouette at this point, and I'll try to hit that head swinger. It's very hard to discern the head swinger from the red dot. Eyes and ears, everybody?
Good.
Okay. So we got a couple hits, huh?
Yep.
I'll go for that head swinger now with the 55 grain. Should be dead on according to our dope. Should be. With this gun, with this ammo. I gotta get super steady. There it was.
Yep.
So it took me 2 to hit that little 6-inch head, which I'm not going to lie, for me, at this distance, had we sprayed that a different color than red, which it's not a big deal, it blends into the body. I see where it is. I'm going to try to get another one. I don't want to just rest on one. Nope. Nope. Ah, that's better. Come on, you. It's a guessing game for me. It's not moving it much at this distance, is it?
Nope.
All right, we'll try the junk soft points now. Which, you know, you guys think about how hard a rifle hits, and just at 200 yards, those rounds were not having enough energy to move that head swinger. That's crazy. That had a lot more energy behind it, didn't it?
Yep.
And that was a good head hit. That was a hard hold. That's the soft point. Bolt lock on that one. We'll switch to the solid copper 62 grain stuff now. I think I'm shooting over it. And put one to the center of the silhouette. Is that a miss?
I didn't hear a ding. That's a hit. Hit.
Had to aim. So had to hold up a little higher. We'll grab the other gun now. Put a couple of these back in. It's very hard with just the dot to see what I'm even doing out there at that distance. Change the flag. Right. And if you're watching this like, oh my God, there's ammo everywhere. I know what I'm grabbing and what I'm not. Relax. Relax. All right, so should have a little easier time now with some magnification. But I'm not gonna lie, the big crosshair on here, which is what everybody's beef was, the center dot on this optic does not do you a lot of favors. So at 200 yards, that center dot is as big as the plate almost. Here we go. So we'll shoot for that swinger now. That was a good hit.
You rocked it. There it goes.
So with this, I can actually aim to the outside of it. I can see. Oh. All right, so easy hits on that headshot from here on that head plate with the 55 grain. Let's throw the 62 in now and see if I can still hold and get hits. Why do I want to know this? Because this is the ammo that's in my gun at home. Not that I'm going to be shooting 200 yards away, but I want to know. Yep. Oop, oop. I gotta get back to good breath control here. I'm running around too much and popping up off the mat too much. Yep. Not ending on that note. One more. Back to the 55 grain. So those 62s were on, which is cool. On a 6-inch target, you know, we're not shooting bullseye here. So what do we do? What we figured out here was that the trajectory of all these different rounds is in fact not the same. The paper doesn't lie. When Drew edits this together, you'll see those rounds hitting in different spots. I'm not some long-range marksman, professional, awesome shooter, but with a aim point and a low power variable optic, we were getting head hits out to 200 yards. If we sat here all day and worked on it and we went out and painted that a bright color so that it would differentiate a little bit from the dot, that would help. Not an excuse. The point is, and we got enough hits that I see what's up. When I got really into my breath and got steady and stopped slapping on the trigger, actually I didn't feel too much slapping, but I definitely wasn't being as conscious of my breath on some of those misses. You have to. Once you're out past 100 yards, every little thing's important. Now, guys that are shooting 1,000 yards, 1,500 yards and farther, to them, 200 yards is nothing. But guess what? They're not shooting a dot, okay? And this is factory ammunition as well. This is bargain ammo. We're not shooting match ammo, which makes a big difference. So, for me, people like to say minute of bad guy. If I can shoot a 6-inch target from 0 to 200 yards with the gun that I keep around my house and your cruiser, if that's what you do at your office to protect life and limb, I'm happy with that. 6-inch target, 200 and in, look at much closer than 100. You better be a hell of a lot more accurate than 6 inches, but there's no gimme. Go zero your stuff, stick to the ammo that you figure out how it works. Don't just assume because it's the same caliber you're going to get the same result. And then if you go to class, show up with your shit zeroed. Be good. Todd, you want the mat or are you going to shoot from the bench?
I'll shoot from the bench on here, but we need to pull his camera because
Oh, yeah, you're going to hit it.
if I'm going to start at the 10,
Yeah.
I got a possibility that I might destroy the camera. I don't think he wants.
No, we'll pull them. We don't want to hit those anyway. So
Tell you
let
what,
me-
let's grab my truck.
Yeah.
We'll run down there and we'll pull his camera in the steel so you don't have to hump that all the way back.
That sounds good. For you guys, I hope that you enjoyed watching. It was a good time. Now, if you watch this in the future, come on out to Aurora Sportsman's Club if you're in the Chicagoland area. Hit them up, send them an email through the website. What is your website?
We're on Facebook. I forget what the actual website. Google Aurora Sportsman's Club. You'll hit the
Google Aurora
Action
Sportsman's
Shooters.
Club. And then if you guys are interested in coming out, hit them up and see about getting a membership or coming out to our training here in April or the many other excellent instructors that come out here, and then as well as the zombie shoot and 3-gun matches and USPSA matches and things like that are held here. Be good. Hope you enjoyed it. It was just a little behind the scenes screwing around. So if you're going to leave nasty comments, I'm going to delete them. Be good.